Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am SidAlpha, and I know this is a little bit odd and a little bit different from what I normally do, but I decided to do a face cam this time because I wanted to sit down and talk to everyone about my channel, what's been happening over the course of the past few months, and what we can expect or what I can hope for in the near future. Now, of course, being this is FaceTime, I have no scripting. I don't even have any bullet points in front of me, but I also don't have the ability to edit anything out. So please bear with me as this is going to be a little bit different from how I normally handle things. Now, I decided to record this. I've actually already recorded the video I was planning on doing tonight, but I wanted to make sure this video went up first so as not to interfere with that video being the video discussing the 1-year anniversary of Total Biscuit's passing. And being that is the topic, I'm sure you'll all understand why I want this video to not interfere with that. But I decided I wanted to take some time because I've been pondering things, and I think a lot of you will have realized this from my recent video discussing games journalism, and a lot of people thinking of me as a journalist. And I've been pondering a great deal over the past several months about my life and my future with the channel and everything. Now, just to get this out of the way up front, my channel's not going anywhere. I'm not quitting. So those of you that are hopeful, sorry, try again later. Those of you that are worried about that, trust me, I'm not going anywhere. But I do have some difficult decisions ahead of me. Now, a lot of you know that last year, you can probably hear my daughter laughing in the background. Last year, she's laughing over some Markiplier video. Last year, I was very accustomed to putting out videos on an extremely regular basis. We're talking between 5 and 8 videos per week. Obviously, since recent months, that number of videos has decreased dramatically. We're talking maybe 1 to 3 videos per week, if that. It's been infuriating. It's been maddening. It's been frustrating. And I think that's really been showing in a lot of my recent content and my interactions online and everything in between. And I can give you a perfect example of that. Recently, I got into a bit of a tiff with upper echelon gaming, upper echelon gamers, upper echelon. We'll just call them upper echelon, over his video discussing the recent loot box legislation. Or the recent attempt at loot box legislation. And he and I got into a Twitter feud. And I could definitely tell that because I was extremely distracted, because I had a lot on my plate, because I was working on 3 different projects at my day job at the same time, that I was definitely not bringing my A game, whereas he was able to focus fully on what was going on. And because of that, you know, the lion scraped his claws across the bear's nose, and I was forced to retreat. With that, he decided to produce a video talking about that situation. And so, being as I had retreated, I decided to go home, get my proverbial baseball bat, and say, all right, let's try this again. And I did produce a video that was very easily able to discuss the talking points that I was attempting to get across in the Twitter argument and failing miserably. And I made very good use of that proverbial baseball bat, as it were. But a lot of that shows the distraction and the extreme frustration that I've been experiencing lately, and it's really been showing through in my content and on my social media interactions. And that majority of that frustration is due to the fact that I essentially have 3 full-time jobs right now. I mean, I have the better than full-time job working in IT. I have the YouTube channel, and I have being a father, being a parent. And one thing that's very particular that a lot of people don't realize is last year, before I started really getting into the format that I have been, videos were actually a lot easier to make. They took a lot less time to edit, they took a lot less time to study, and they took a lot less time to record. The reason being is because the current format of these videos take an extremely long time to properly research, to lay everything out, to develop slides, to record and edit the audio, to edit the video, put in the overlays and the graphics and the transitions and all that. There's a lot more work that goes in there, particularly between every 5 and 10 minute long video takes between 6 and 8 hours to produce. It's a lot of effort. It really is. And because of that, the amount of content has decreased due to the current demands of my day job. And I will be completely blunt with you guys. I am unhappy with my day job. It used to be one of the greatest things in the world for me. I thought I had found my dream job because I didn't know the joys of YouTube at that time. But it has grown increasingly to be a forever annoyance for me. The thing that I do not enjoy going to work anymore. I do not enjoy associating with a great deal of my coworkers. There's just very little in my day job that brings me any form of satisfaction anymore. And most of that is, I believe, that just the way the direction the company has gone, not that it's a bad direction, but more that I've just sort of grown out of my desire to remain there. And a lot of that does have to do with the YouTube channel. A lot of you don't know this, but if I were able to maintain producing between 5 and 7 videos a week, as I was before, then I would actually right now be making between $2,000 and $3,000 a year more on my YouTube channel than I'm making currently at my day job. That is a reality due greatly in part to donations from all of you, from Patreon and Ko-Fi or Coffee or whatever, and PayPal.me donations and everything of the sort. And also with my deal with Exclusively Games does net me a decent amount of money as well. Decent for the amount of content that gets created there. I think it's fantastic, and I love having the creative freedom that I do. And because of that, the desire to hold on to my day job has decreased dramatically over the recent months, especially considering the severe drought of content that has taken place on my channel. And I'm talking about all this because I am of an opinion that I could do away with my day job in rapid fashion if I were stupid about things. The other difficulty is that life matters, and there are real world considerations to be had there. And the reason I say that is because due to life and family and all of that, there are significant amounts of bills and therapies and medical bills and the like that do have to be paid. And that is why right now I am not divesting myself of my day job yet. That said, I am extremely frustrated with myself and with the apparent lack of growth on my channel that is a result of that lack of content. And the reason is because I've deliberately set myself up for an extremely high standard of quality and visual quality and editorialization quality that a lot of you really enjoy, but it takes a lot of time. And the amount of growth or the apparent lack of growth is my fault. It's no one else's. Just so everyone is aware, I do not blame this on anything or any random happenstance or anything like that. It is my fault. Well, I should say it's the algorithm's fault and my fault. Looking at my statistics over the past 28 days, I have the amount of sub growth that I used to get in a single day. And that's really disheartening for a YouTuber to see. It shows every indication points that the channel is not healthy. And the reason why is due to that general lack of content. And I've been thinking back, especially considering today of all days being the day of TV's passing, thinking back to how I handled content in the past and how I used to do a pretty wide variety of things and the style of things that I covered in previous days, which still, when I do go back and revisit those style of topics, I do notice that those videos do extremely well. I'm talking about videos surrounding dirty devs. I'm talking about videos that surround the indie game industry. And I'm talking about less journalistic style content, as a lot of you like to put it, and more commentary and editorialization. And I know any recent reviews, or the most recent reviews that I'd done on my channel, did not do at all well. They are still something that I extremely enjoy, and I do want to get back into doing. I do plan on continuing on with the developer in review series. I do plan on continuing with the Supergiant games and getting that finished, and I do plan on finding other developers to be able to showcase. And I also want to get back into dealing with asset flippers and developers on the Steam storefront, because if it's one thing that we know is that the gaming industry is a fickle beast. And while Epic Games is being almost universally vilified over the Epic Store right now, that will change once their storefront becomes more feature complete. And Steam particularly Valve, really has to do something to start cleaning up the mess that they've made for themselves. Otherwise, they will be ousted and they will be supplanted by Epic Games and other storefronts. And that's just a reality of things. Steam is resting on their laurels for far too long. So I do want to get back into that content to showcase and help try and drive positive change for the Steam storefront, because while I do believe competition is a good thing, I don't think that Steam going away would be beneficial for anyone. And I don't want to see them fail. I don't want to see Epic Games fail either. I do want them to be a lot more consumer friendly, but that's something that we have to drive through steady, direct and constant pressure. It's not something we can browbeat or shame them into doing. They are giant, massive moving ships that take several miles for them to change even a few degrees. That's something that we tend to forget with the AAA industry, that these are corporations and these companies do have a lot of moving parts. And so any form of change with them is going to be slow to come, and it's not going to be a rapid overnight thing. So because of that, I do want to, on days when I just do not have the time or do not have the energy to be able to go through a standard news commentary or industry commentary piece, I do plan on getting back into more Is It Worth It videos, which was my first impressions video series. It was very closely mirrored off of TB's original WTF series. And obviously you can see TB's influence on my channel basically everywhere you look. It's even in my introduction and my outro. It's basically, I picked that up from him without even realizing it. A lot of people pointed it out over the course of a couple of years, and I tried to stop, but it just felt wrong. So I just continued with it, and it's remained to this day. So I do plan on getting back into the first impressions live critique style raw format of video game critique with indie games, because it's one of those formats that I feel fits very well because it is raw. It's a style of content that fits well with indie games, because I can sit down, I can play a game for an hour, get a good feel for it, get a good impression on the overall mechanics of the game and whether I like it or not, because it is an indie game. And then I can be able to walk people through, showcase the game, showcase the gameplay, and what I think of the different aspects and segments. I think that's something that a lot of people used to find a great deal of value in, and I want to bring some of that back. Because if it's one thing that I always wanted to do with my channel, and I have not been able to do of late, is I did want to be a positive force for good in this industry. And when I was dealing more directly with the Steam storefront in the indie market, I was able to do that in a very real and measurable sense. I mean, there was a lot of asset flippers and dirty devs always tended to operate under the impression of there is no such thing as bad publicity. But I would point to Andrew Watt and Nate Berdiev and Silicon Echo and so many others as case in point that not all publicity is good. And I was able to showcase a lot of very nefarious things and warn people away from to be aware of. And Steam and Valve were able to take direct action in several instances. Now, I had a lot of help with a lot of that with Survivalent Death and Mellow Online and Sentinels of the Store, and I have maintained a very close relationship with them, and I do look forward to continuing to work with them both on and off screen as much as possible, whenever necessary and whenever needed and whenever I can. That will never change. But the style of journalistic op-ed pieces that I've done on my channel, I will continue, of course, because that's a lot of people are what have grown accustomed to me doing now. And because of that, I can't simply divest myself of it, because the videos that I do create, except for the most recent one, do tend to still do extremely well, and they're very well received. And I cannot ignore that. I cannot ignore that I do fill a role in this industry in that sense, and I cannot divest myself of it. A lot of people see worth in what I'm doing there, and I don't want to just throw that away. But I do want to be able to get back into doing what I'm really good at, and that is a form of critique, because I'm a very good critic. I always have been. And that's something that I haven't been able to do much of, if any, of late, and it's something I really want to get back to. But I realized I've been talking for an extremely long period of time, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up so I can get this edited and uploaded so I can finish the TB video. So what I'm saying is I want to be able to get back into more regular content that I used to do on the days that I cannot do the type of content that I do now. I think that would be fair, and I think that would be a good compromise for everyone, because right now I cannot divest myself of the day job much as I might want to, but that day will come very soon. And with everyone's continued support, hopefully we'll be able to see some positive growth on the channel again. There's basically no chance in hell that I'll be able to hit 100,000 subscribers by my birthday, but hey, it was a nice dream. We should still be able to hit that by the end of the year without too much problem. And by then, I should be able to go full-time. Of course, anyone who is looking to help support the channel monetarily or by likes and subscribes and follows and shares on social media, those are all extremely important. Do not discount their importance, please. You're more than welcome to do so. I would love you forever if you did. Anyone who does wish to support me monetarily, and those that already do, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Every little bit does help, and it helps get me to that point where I can go full-time with the channel just that much faster. And that's basically where I'm at. So to sum up, basically where I am is I'm not happy with my day job. I'm not happy with the amount of content that I've been able to produce recently on my YouTube channel because of the day job. And that attitude, that frustration has begun to color things. And I wanted you all to know that I recognize that, and I do want to take steps to help remedy that. So, case in point, I'm going to get this video uploaded as a bit of content, and then I'm going to continue working on getting the audio cleaned up for my Total Biscuit video. And we should get that up tonight as well. So thank you so much for watching. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time.